Mike in a car tonight. Um, so I should be home, but I've been distracted. I went to a couple elderly couple's house to replace a light switch because they were really struggling. So I thought, well, I didn't want the gentleman to do it. He, clearly hadn't got a lot of cash. So I was like, right. I said, no worries. I'll come around and fit that for you. So I did that. That's my little hero moment for today. So that's where I am. Anyway, let's get into it. Mike the Fisherman sat in his car in the middle of Thetford, of all places, in the car park. So, hey, um, I'm Mike the Fisherman. This is Fisherman's Blues. If you like what you see, um, subscribe to the channel. If you want to know when I'm going live or whatever, just hit the subscribe button and hit the bell and you'll get notified. Louis Fenton, good evening. Evening, Mike. Hope you're well. Your live was great to watch. I imagine this is going to be box office. I was there. It was utter shambles, says Andy. Evening, Andy. I was there. Utter shambles. Lose the next three. We need to think the unthinkable up the town. Luke, where am I? I am near the recycling centre, actually, in Thetford. I've parked up. And the reason why I've parked up is because I knew I was helping someone, Luke. So anyway, I did that. So, I'm Mike in the car tonight. But let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into what is clearly not a happy place at town at the moment. The fan base is very, very much unhappy, very divided. It's very, what's the word? It's not a happy fan base, and I blame one person for the majority of it. I blame Kieran McKenna. Absolutely, I do. This season, you've got a new squad, and I get that maybe the first, I don't know, first 5 to 8 games, you need to find out what your best players are. The reality is, right, you've got Leif Davis playing an inverted role, which is killing his season, not getting the best out of him. You're playing every game, you're changing the team. You've got Nunes, who has man of the match performance, gets dropped the next game. You've got Greaves, who I've given some stick for, but had a man of the match performance, gets dropped. You got Kipre, who was a bit dodgy against Oxford, keeps his place. Every game there's 5, 6 changes. It's utterly embarrassing, and you are ruining your legacy that you've created, Kieran. The owners have got to look at the situation and think we have spent extremes amount of money for this club, and we are not playing. We haven't played well all season. If people think that we've played well, absolutely ridiculous. Let's catch up on some of these. Louis, next 3 games is going to be season defining, in my opinion. We play like that against Coventry, we're getting our arse handed to us. McKenna and Ashton have some serious questions to answer. Again, why ain't the media asking tough questions to McKenna? Why do you keep changing this team? It's absolutely ridiculous. I'll say it again. Louis says, I said after this I'll say it again. I genuinely believe McKenna has lost some of the dressing room. I have to agree. No one has to fight for their place in this team. That's my biggest gripe. McKenna has lost the plot. The team are playing such boring football. I haven't seen such poor football since... That's to you, Luke. Norwich. Come on, Norwich. Played well and you get dropped. Play bad and you're rewarded. Absolutely. Absolutely. £11 million on that McAteer. Fucking hell, he can't deliver a letter. Nunes plays well, gets dropped. Greaves plays well, gets dropped. Matasiwa, even he is suffering. I don't think he's been particularly great the last 2 games. Matty said on the radio he is 40%. Morsey, he is 40% of what Morsey was. Absolutely, absolutely bang on the money. Jack Smith. I wonder if McKenna wants to go. Well, if you want to go, just go, mate. You don't need us to. Don't need the fan base. And this is the thing about the fan base, right? When we went down with Burley, everybody remembers what Burley did for the club. We had played exciting football. We tore the Premier League up in the first season, and then the recruitment was bad, and we just absolutely, dismantled, and we ended up getting relegated. And then the season that following season, Burley gets sacked, and that is the rest is history. But he always would be remembered as a bit of getting us to the Premier League. The same with McKenna, but McKenna cannot continue to set the team up like this. It's absolutely a joke. It really is. Jack Smith, I think we have the players, but Southgate type tactics are pedestrian. Can't disagree. Reminds me of Louis. Where are we? Louis says, it reminds me of the season under Cook where we signed 19 players, but it didn't work out for him, and the change of manager made the difference. Do you know what? I have to agree. And Charlie, you make an absolute banging point. There's so many fans that are accepting mediocrity. At any club, McKenna would have been long gone. Unless you're Norwich, I mean, obviously they kept Manning for ages. For me, the biggest issue is bingo ball McKenna. We don't know what team he's going to put out. We don't know where they're going to play. For me, he got found out in the Premier League. He really did get found out in the Premier League, and I'm not accepting that we played that good in the Premier League, because we didn't. We kept to the same tactics, and we were just ripped apart in times. At the first game, you think, okay, I watched Liverpool first game, but it was only when you realised that the difference between the Championship and the Premier League, you realise that you have to change things up. And I've been saying this for ages. Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Brighton, all these good quality teams all have plan Bs. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. McKenna doesn't have a plan A at the moment, let alone a plan B, C, D, and E. There's the football is atrocious. The tactics are horrendous. The players that are coming on, and he's keeps changing and what's name. No one is fighting for their place. No one is fighting to take. Say like you've got Greaves and O'Shea in defenders. You should have Kipre on the bench fighting to get on there. And if he has a good game, he keeps his place. No one knows what's going to happen with Walton. Walton's probably been the breath of fresh air. But I'll be shocked. Are we going to be shocked if he drops Walton? The problem is on a huge contract. That's Ashton. That's on Ashton. How can you be a CEO and a chairman of a club? That's a conflict of interest. Ashton's got far too much power at the club, for my liking. And he's done. Look, I think obviously we do need to be a little bit grounded, because obviously from where we came from to where we are now. But us fans, we didn't move the goalpost on this club. We never moved the goalposts. And to say, game changer and the owners moved the goalpost, McKenna and Ashton moved the goalpost when we got promoted. We now as fan base, we expect good performances. We expect to be challenging for promotion. Right now, we're challenging for mid-table. because we ain't getting promoted. Louis says this season is ruining the legacy that McKenna created. Back-to-back promotions. He's lucky he did that. Any other club, he would have been sacked by now. And his recent record since the Prem. Charlie follows that. No, not Charlie. Where are we? Yeah, get the right one. Charlie says the back-to-back promotion squad had a lot of Paul Cook signings in. Now this is all McKenna's squad, and he's failing. He was failing in the Premier League. Some of the players he brought in the Premier League just weren't good enough. And now, this is the thing, right? Smodic playing for Blackburn, banging goals in for fun. Jack Clark playing for Sunderland, probably their best player, scoring goals. Philogene for Huddersfield, scoring goals. Agelli for his side he left, scoring goals. What's happening with us? I mean, I know Philogene scored a few goals for the season, but of late he's been poor. I mean, you get one good game out of Philogene and you might get 3 bad ones. But you need to find a consistent level. And right now, McKenna is dragging the club down. He's ruining his legacy. He can't keep a settled side. He doesn't know his best. Either he doesn't know his best 11, or I don't know whether he thinks he's Pep Guardiola, because it's, who agreed the signing of Azon and Akpom? Strikers are useless. But Paul, I agree. But Akpom wasn't poor for Middlesbrough. He was banging in goals for Middlesbrough as well. You think Amari was a serious overrated signing? Based on his performance in the Championship, no. I don't think he was overrated. Did he have a good season with us last season? I'd argue no, he didn't. But I don't think there was many players that had a good season, because it was a difficult year. It was a Premier League, and when you've got the likes of Calvin Phillips, who came to this club with high expectations, and let's be fair, flopped, massively flopped. If it was me, Azon goes back in January. Not good enough for this league, not good enough for this team. But we don't have a natural number 10 fit at the moment. You could argue that Nunes is probably as good a number 10 as you're going to get with what we've got at the moment. Smodic, good as number 10 you're going to get at the moment. You've got Chaplin on loan, who perfect number 10, but goes missing on away games. We all know that. Let's talk about, maybe we should get Morsey back in the January window. Why? Why would he come back? It's clear there's something happened between the club and him. Perhaps not McKenna, but him. David McCone, Uncle Fester. Sir Uncle Fester to you, let's be fair. Sir. Nunes has been our best signing this season, without a doubt. I like Nunes. There's the fact that upset the Norwich fans so badly that he went, and his record with him was brilliant. For me, he's a brilliant signing. I was really happy when we signed him, not just because he's a Norwich player, but because he's actually a very good player. But like I said, Davis, the inverted role, right, which he's playing now, cutting inside and all that, that's destroying his season, because you saw what happened last night. Philogene went across the ball and Davis went across his path. Louis said, I think I'd recall Ogbenny in January. I would add a different dynamic to on the right hand side. I think it's worth a shot. I think you should recall Ogbenny. I think Burns had a bit of an injury setback. I don't think he's in what he was off for in the first place. I think he just got a bad knock, I think. So hopefully Burns is all right. But he's one player that we've missed for a long time. But he's only got 1 year left on his contract. Are we as a club going to be wanting to keep him next season? If it was me, hell yeah. He was he's been a brilliant signing for us, and he might be nearly 30, but he's probably got a good couple of years left in him, with us, 100%. So, but right now, I'm going to say it as I see it. I'm going to say it as I feel. My heart and my head are in balance right now, and I think it's time for Kenna to go. Genuinely mean it. I think his time has come to an end. I think the owners need to ask Ashton and McKenna some serious questions. McKenna needs to stop thinking about, um, you know, Ashton, McKenna for me is too comfortable with the club. You know, yesterday's performance, I know we scored late on, but did I cheer? I was like, well, that we got a result. You know, would you change the formation? I believe we need a different style of place or something like that. Um, for me, I've said it for a while actually. My mate Cruncher, Suffolk Cruncher, if anybody know what's the name, I said to him, he, we reckon a 4-3-3 would suit the players we got, or a 3-4-3 perhaps. I've got an itchy eye. Sorry. I was on Talking Town last night, and we had some great chat about you know about players and McAtee. I mean, a good friend of mine, Steve, on there. He rates McAtee, and he thinks if you could play a longer ball for him to run onto, he would do well. But this final ball, he just reminds me a little bit of Gus Uhlenbeek. He's got the pace, he's got that power and that speed, but the final ball, it's like he can't deliver a letter. Let alone deliver a decent cross or a pass. Mate, cup of tea, love one. 2 sugars, white, 2 sugars, please. Charlie says, why the hell would Ogbenny we'd send out? That to me was absolute lovely biscuits. I love them, Vernon. Lovely, thank you. Why would you send him out on loan? We bought him for the Premier League. Why would you then send him out on loan in the Championship? I find that staggering. But the recruitment, let's look at the recruitment last season and this season. You have to ask questions of Ashton and the recruitment. I mean, it's all very well giving us a tour of what's going to be done on the training ground. And look, Ashton, that's your forte. I get that. You're a salesman. You want to promote the club and everything. But offered Mike 2 free season tickets earlier and he rejected them. You did. My mate, my very good friend Rob, offered me his 2 seasons tickets. I said, no, you're not interested. I'm not interested at the moment in going. It's a long way to go. It costs you 15 quid to park. To watch that dross right now, it is absolutely horrendous. Zachary says, am I Somalian? I notice a lot of East African features in your face and hair. No, I'm not. And I am handsome as well. There we are. Can't be bad. Charlie says, everyone fell for Ashton's propaganda last season, put up with a poor recruitment and performance. Look, McKenna had a free hit last year. There's no two ways about it. And rightly so. I think by Christmas I could see that we were never going any other direction other than down. People said obviously the team went up too early. There's a good argument for that. I'm not saying there isn't, but I think the reality is that we had an opportunity to stay in the Premier League, and I just think we got our recruitment completely wrong. We tried to buy the best players that were on form that season no, I'm not catfishing, Graham. Let's catch up. Just bear with me. What have I done? Right, so I feel sorry. Paul says, I feel sorry for the fans travelling away watching this dross. Absolutely. Louis says, a recruitment on Ashton or McKenna, because couldn't McKenna and his team look at these players before Ashton signs them? Like I said, I think it's on both of them. I mean, Ashton and McKenna are to blame for the recruitment. There has to be. You'd have to ask, what are the scouts doing? Is there a scouting network? We don't get these kind of questions asked. Graham says, "Are you carp fishing?" No, I'm not. I was working and I went to help an elderly gentleman fix a light switch because he'd got low lighting in his kitchen, and he was like needed help, so I helped him. So that's what I did. So of course I knew I'd got a live at 8 o'clock. So I quickly drove up the road and thought, right, I need to find somewhere to park and let's do this live. So I'm going to give you another 5 minutes. Birmingham must be so relieved they didn't sign Akpon. Well, you say that, but he might have scored them plenty of goals because they play slightly different to the way we do. We're too slow, we're too mediocre, everything about us is wrong at the moment. And I'm afraid the buck stops with the manager. I genuinely believe, I think, well, you've only got to look at other teams. They've sacked managers for less. And, it's just not working. We've got no leadership on the pitch. I've said this before and I'll say it again. O'Shea has got better as a defender, but there's no leadership there. Matty Siwa, no leadership. Jack Taylor, no leadership. He was poor last night, and I felt for Jack because he's been really good of late. But there's like something is seriously wrong. There is no consistency with the team. There's no one taking hold of the game and saying, right, this is what's happening. No one has to fight for their place because we're playing McKenna youth football, where everybody has to have game time. And it's pathetic. But we've got Coventry at the weekend, and let's be fair. There's 20 people watching. Let's do a Coventry prediction. Yeah, it was no good trying to predict the team because that is like guessing game. Score predictions for the Coventry. I'm going to keep mine to the chest right now. Score predictions against Coventry. What do people think? Mauricio Tarico says he should be given the next 3 games. Well, he's got till Christmas for me anyway. Okay, so let's look at these scores. Paul says 3 or 4-0 to Coventry. We play like we did against Blackburn. Agreed. Jack says 1-1. Mario says 1-2 to Coventry. You'll be surprised if you even score against Coventry. Yep, 4-0. Charlie's saying either 4-3 to Town or 5-0 typical Town or 5-0 Coventry. I agree. Rob's going 4-1. Another 5-0 to Coventry. A miracle was needed to Saturday. He's saying 3-0. Planet Pong's going 7-2. Wow. I mean, let's be honest with you. Who remembers the Peterborough horror show under Keane? Was it under Keane? Yeah. I'll tell you what, actually, yeah, do you know what? I was looking at some of the football under Keane, and I remember, it's very similar right now, very similar to how we're playing. But yeah, so my scoreline is I don't think we score against Coventry. I think we struggle. I think we lose 3-0. That's my prediction. I think we lose 3-0. And yeah, and we get humbled because I don't think we're very good at the moment. And Coventry are flying. But as for me, I am done. I want to thank you all for joining me. Normally I'd be at home in my nice warm house, but it is Ipswich, Beacon Hill, nice 4-hour drive. Rob, are you a Leeds fan or Cov fan? Rob says fair shout that Mike 3-0. Yeah, I do think we'll lose that 3-0. I think it's going to be another. Look, we'll probably up our game, but what about my plumbing now? What about your plumbing? What about your plumbing? Right, I'm done and dusted. I really want to say more, but I think give over Bradford City Football Club. I see Bradford in their day in the Premier League under Jewel. Had some good nights. Rob, good night, my man. And listen, thanks everyone for joining me this evening. And I know it's a bit short, but I'm sat in my car. I'll see you tomorrow, Rob, at some point. I'm the fisherman. This is Fisherman's Blues. Hopefully, things change, but I can't see it. Anyway, good night, Mr. McKenna. Thanks ever so much, Louis. Honestly, it means the world to me, you guys coming on here. So anyway, I'm done. I'm Mike the Fisherman. This is Fisherman's Blues. If you like what I do, if you like what I say, subscribe. I've been called Phil Mitchell. I've been called worse before. I've been called brain dead. I've been called, as long as I don't get called late for my dinner, which I am now, and I'm hungry. I'm going late.